Robust, zombie-free companies are environments where innovation naturally thrives. They embody positive corporate cultures and exhibit all the Think Inc. characteristics introduced in Chapter 1. In these workplaces, employees are confident and know that if they go out on a limb, their teams and leaders have got their backs. Employees are not afraid to challenge the status quo. They welcome experimentation. Some companies even reward failure, like India-based Tata Group, which presents an annual Dare to Try award. General Electric has also granted awards to teams that exhibited great imagination and innovation, even if the result didn't match the intended outcome. We all admire positive business cultures in which people are permitted to experiment and take chances in pursuit of real progress. We admire them because they're so rare. The majority of companies, particularly those struggling with innovation, tend to exhibit negative or simply complacent cultures. These are places where bureaucracy, politics, and red tape are prominent and where skepticism has become second nature. While most of us realize that a positive culture is the ideal and that a negative culture is bad, it's important to recognize that a complacent culture is the worst. In a negative culture, employees, management, and even outsiders are largely aware of the lack of trust within the organization, and that fear is the primary motivator for getting things done. Nobody denies that, at some point, a change will be necessary. A complacent culture, however, lacks that sense of urgency. In fact, these organizations can be deceiving because they can be somewhat pleasant places to work. They reward conformity and keep a tight rein on risk-taking. Employees may once have tried to buck the status quo, but are resigned to the fact that change is difficult to accomplish. Many employees say that everything is fine. Complacency can entrap market leaders who are comfortable in their status and happy with the results of existing offerings. These companies falsely believe that they are too big, too powerful, or have too much brand cachet to lose their place as a market leader. But a downfall can happen to the best of companies, even those that invented the industries they dominate. How exactly does this happen? In a September 2011 article in Foreign Policy, Thomas Friedman and Michael Mandelbaum explored this issue in an interview with the current chairman and CEO of IBM, Samuel J. Palmisano. IBM was at the forefront of personal computing, but grew complacent in its top position. When asked about how IBM lost sight of an industry it practically invented, Palmisano confessed, "You spend more time arguing amongst yourselves over a shrinking pie than looking to the future." IBM started fighting against itself, departments versus departments, colleagues versus colleagues, instead of focusing on its real competitors, and thus lost touch with the world in which it operates. Luckily, this was not the end of IBM's story. Under Palmisano's leadership, the company got back on track by focusing externally to understand the changing environment around it. Then IBM mobilized and inspired its workforce to define its industry's future. Complacency can also grip players in the middle of the pack. Though these companies aren't industry leaders or losers, when confronted with the difficulty of changing entrenched management practices, they prefer to focus on their company's positive aspects, rather than working hard to fix problems that aren't immediately evident, even though these problems will cause them to fall further behind the competition. Whether you're working within a negative culture or a complacent one, taking the initiative to encourage innovation is pointless until you start to dismantle the root causes, two of which are particularly damaging: output obsession.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.